Do you like chaos? Do you like causing all sorts of problems? Do you enjoy breaking stuff? Well, who's ready to break ServiceNow? Alright, well, that may be a bit dramatic, but when backing out an update set, you do increase the chance that something else could break or lead to potential data loss. And if you ever plan to reintroduce that development back into the platform, you'll come across a few conflicts. It's highly recommended to avoid backing out an update set if possible, and if something really does need to be fixed, you should address the issue directly instead of backing things out. Now, you may be thinking, dude, I just want to undo something, what's the big deal? And you may be right. Your edge case may not be a big deal, but normalizing the behavior or feeling nonchalant about backing out update sets is a risky thought process, and you should tread lightly. Nobody is perfect, and there may come a time when you really do need to back something out. If that does pop up, then it's extremely important to be aware of what potentially could happen when you do need to do so. Most of us within the ServiceNow ecosystem have either never backed out an update set before, or if we have, it happens rarely, so we may not be 100% familiar with what will actually happen. So let's head on over to the brand new Allinovation Lab and take a deeper look at what really happens when you back out a ServiceNow update set. All right, so we made it to the Allinovation Lab. And once again, my name is Alan Andreas. Yeah, you noticed. I have a lab coat on. It means I'm a professional. And I totally did not go onto Amazon and buy this. Anyways, let's jump into a ServiceNow instance and walk through a few scenarios. All right, so first things first, real quick, we do want to cover that ServiceNow does have documentation out there about how to back out an update set and kind of what happens in different scenarios when you do choose to do this. It does cover things like backing out a new table, a new field, etc. The downside here is that you can read about this all day long and get a general idea, but what really happens when you go into an instance and actually do it yourself? Do you want to find out for the first time what really happens in that moment, or would you rather a goofball like me be your guinea pig and show you what happens when you do one of these things? Hopefully you picked the right answer, which is let me do it. Remember, I am wearing the lab coat. Okay, so now that we know that, let's go into an instance here. Now I've created a test table backout that I'm going to put in here, that I'm going to back out. So this update set has already been committed, and we're going to go ahead and just verify that the table is really here. So we're going to look for the list view. Here it is. And we'll open up the record here, and you can see what we're talking about here. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to go back to the update set itself, and we're simply going to click back out. Now, when you go to back out an update set, you're going to get this kind of warning about, hey, it's cannot be undone. Are you sure you really want to do that? And we're going to go ahead and say yes. And notice that button is red. A lot of warning signs, a lot of red, a lot of things like that going on. So we're going to go ahead and just back this table out. And you'll see that it's going to go ahead and move through a few of the issues here. And so you're going to notice that one or more versions were not able to be backed out. And so we already have an issue. This was a brand new update set that just got committed moments before recording this segment. And there's already been an issue here, most likely stemming from the fact that there were records on this table. So you can already see, man, I just wanted to back out the table. What was going on with that? So if you actually have, and you'll notice here when we actually go in here to look at the table is not here. So the table is no longer here. Let's search through it for it through list view. You're going to see it's not here, but it backed it out, or did it, or didn't it? So this is what I'm talking about as far as really understanding the steps that you may need to do. You're going to have to delete the records first to then be able to back out the table without having any issues on here, because that's what we're hitting. So this is just the first example of many. Let's move on to our next example. Okay, so in our next example, we're going to show you what happens when you add a field to a table and then you choose to actually back that out. So this field that we're adding is to the sysuser table and it's called favorite food. So we're going to go ahead and walk through a few user records here just to show the field being on the form and some value put into it. So this one has pizza as their favorite food. We have biscuit, we have salad, things like that are in here. So what will happen now is we want to go back into the update set and back that out. So once you go back into an update set, you're going to notice that there's back out here in the upper right hand corner. And so let me kind of zoom this out a little bit. So you can see in the top right hand corner that the back out is there on this form here. So we're going to zoom back out and then go ahead and click that button. But before that, there's a misconception out there in the ecosystem on when you can actually back something out. So if you recall, we've looked at we looked at a table update set and things like that. So here's a list of other update sets, and you'll notice ones from earlier still have this back out on it. So again, kind of showing the back out button here, and it's still available to click. So the point that I'm trying to get at is that in these cases here, it doesn't have to be the last update set that is on your instance. It can be any update set at any time. You can go in and you'll see that back out button there. And again, just showing again the back out button being there for this new field. So let's go ahead and click back out, and same as before, it can't be undone. Are you sure you want to do that? We're going to go ahead and click OK. So it says it's succeeded. And this time we have no fail, no issues, even though this field had data in it on user records as we saw. So now you'll notice that the update set has now removed itself from the update set list. Well, where did it go? And what happened with the user table? So let's go back and look at the user table, and let's click on the first one, and you'll notice that boom, the space has been taken back up. The favorite food field is not there anymore. So that's what happened with that. As far as what happened to the update to the field and where did that update set go, what happened, this is what happened. So you'll notice here that in the default update set for the scope being global in this case, the updates actually went here. So the dictionary, the form layout, the field label is actually all here. And so what'll happen is that if you choose to bring this update set back in, maybe you committed it, then you backed it out, then they said, no, wait, yeah, we do want the favorite food field back on there, and you got to bring it back in. You're going to hit a conflict on this instance having a newer version than what was in the update set just a moment ago. Because these updates here in this record, you can see the date and time is a 1 minute ago. It's 1 minute ago versus that update set could have been from 2 months ago and just finally getting promoted up. And so that date and time on that record, when it goes to come back onto this instance, you're going to see it say, hey, there's a conflict here because there's the version on the instance that you're trying to go to has a newer version. So a couple of things here. One, the back out button is always available to back things out on any update set at any time, no matter which, how old the update set is that's been on the instance, you can still back it out. It does not have to be the latest one. Two, when you do back something out in this global scope, it's going to move those updates over the deletes here. You'll see the deletes into the default update set. And then the update set itself is removed or deleted off the instance. So a few different things going on here as far as how this goes. Let's walk through another example in just a moment. So on our next example, we're going to show you what happens when you try to either increase or decrease a field that already exists on a table. So in this use case, we're going to be talking about the title field on the sysuser table. So as you can see, it's currently out of the box. It's got a max length of 60 characters. Now, just a few things real quick. I want to show you a couple user records that we have in the instance. This is Able Tutor, who's got, I have a really long title because I'm awesome. So there's that. And then we have another user that says, I'm also awesome, so I must have an even longer title than Yo, or YOU being you, but they already hit the max character count there at 60, so it only let it become YO. And then we have another user that simply got just architect there, architect. So the point that I want to get at is that if you were to try to commit an update set right now where you wanted to reduce the size of the title field down from 60 to, let's say 40 characters, as in this update here, you're going to get hit with a few things. So what happened here is that the length changed when you try to commit this update to that environment to reduce it from 60 to 40. The length change was not allowed. The field title on the user table contains existing records, and it gives you a count of 2 of them. Remember, one had architect, but the other 2 had pretty long ones that exceed the new length of 40. And there's nothing else you can do here. You cannot commit this due to it exceeding the length of 40 characters. So I just wanted to kind of throw that out there already as far as an issue you might hit even trying to get an update onto an instance. So let's go back out and do a title field of 80. So we want to actually increase it from 60 to 80. And you'll notice here, there's no problems at all. So we're going to go ahead and commit this update. It's already been successfully committed. And now we're going to go in and check and see what happens. So the history, let's go and look at the dictionary title, and you'll notice that the max length is now 80. So let's go back into some of these records here that we had before. Let's go to Abraham Lincoln, who said, I'm also awesome, so I must have an even longer title than you. Now we can finish spelling it, Y-O-U. Ha ha, ha 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 ha. Let's add in a bunch of stuff, okay? Now that we've done that, let's go back to another user, and let's do able tutor, and let's do a little bit more and say, because I'm awesome, and Abraham is not really that cool. It was going to be cool, but we only got co. Okay, so now we've got 2 records that we know have longer than the original 60. Let's see what happens when we try to back out the update set. So let's go back over to local update sets, new field 80. We're going to now back that out. Whoops, we didn't mean to do it 80 characters. Let's try to back that out. Are you sure you want to be doing that? You can't undone it, blah, 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 blah. Here we go. Already a problem. Fix the problem. What is that? So we're going to go down here to the logs, and you're going to see the max level, or the max size was changed from 60 to 80. The customer updates, the backout problems. This version will not be backed out because the system has decided that it is not safe to do so. Changing the length or the type would cause data to be lost. So even when you try to back this out, you're not going to be able to do that. Now, when we go to look at the documentation, it's going to say that when you go to back out a field, it's going to change it back. So that's the type of update that we're talking about. So that's the data that we're talking about. So you'll notice here in the ServiceNow documentation, we have a resized field. The field size is reversed. If the field has been increased, which we did that, data is truncated first to avoid errors. But in reality, what just happened back in the instance, you're going to see that it said, no, we're not even going to touch that at all. And so back here, it's going to say this version will not be backed out because the system has decided it is not safe to do so. Changing the length or the type would cause data to be lost, and it actually stopped it from doing it. Can we click it again and try to, let's punch this thing through. Let's punch this thing through. Let's back it out again. And guess what? The second time we did it, it actually backed out. This is what I'm talking about as far as the documentation. You think you might know what's going on. You hit that hard the first time, but then we do it again and boom, it happens. So let's go take a look back at the dictionary entry for title, and it's still at 80. But the back out looked like it just happened. Did it actually back it out? No, it's still here. So what happened to the update set? Like, where's the updates? Did it go into global again? Here it is, dictionary title. But it moved over the insert in here. It didn't move over the delete. It actually moved over the insert of the original movement from 60 up to 80 and put it into the default update set, but actually did not back it out. But when you go back to local update sets, the new 80 field update set, as you saw per the name, is not there. So again, trying to walk you through some of this where the documentation looks like it says one thing, it sounds like it's a little bit easy to do certain things, but it's not. You have to really watch what you're doing. We've already hit 2 issues across 2 things already. Let's move on to the next example. So on our last example, we want to walk through deleting a record, being a business rule, in 2 different scopes, because there is some different behavior here. So one, we're going to go through deleting a business rule in the global scope, and then we're going to delete a business rule in another scope, and in this case being customer service management. So for the first one, the global record, the business rule, it's a business rule to assign all incidents to me because I'm just crazy like that, and I want to go ahead and have all the incidents assigned to me. So we're going to go ahead and commit this, and I'm showing the commits, which does make this video take a little, last a little bit longer, but the point here is I want to actually let you see what's actually happening. So we've done that, we've committed that, and now we go here, assign all incidents to Alan. Now I'm not going to touch anything else. I'm going to come back out. We're going to go back to the update sets here. Let's go to local update sets and global record. And so now this is the one assigning all incidents to me. I'm going to click back out in the top right-hand corner. Are you sure you want to do this? Yep. And it's good to go. So again, what happened here? Let's go look at the default update set for global. There's the business rule in here. Is it still there anymore? It's gone. Okay, so that was global. Now let's quickly go over and check what happens to an update set in another scope. Let's go ahead and check this out. Update sets to commit, CSM record. Now this is assign all cases to me. So not only did I think I could work all incidents previously, now I'm so awesome, I can work all cases. Again, must be this lab coat. But anyway, we're gonna preview that. All right, so we've previewed that and now we've got success on that. So we're gonna go ahead and take a look here. Everything looks good. We're gonna go ahead and commit it. And now that we've committed it, let's go take a peek and see, just to make sure it's on the instance where it's supposed to be. So we're going to go back to business rules. And here we go. And we'll see assign all cases to Alan. So again, before we had a global record business rule being backed out. Now let's go ahead and see what happens when we do it inside of a scope that's not the global. So let's go back to the CSM record. And to be able to really get into the update set, we need to switch to the actual scope. So let's switch to customer service. Now the back out button shows, just to kind of blow that back up so you can see it's there. Let's back it out. Again, cannot be undone, yada, yada. So we're going to go ahead and back this out. And now you're going to notice that we got a problem. How can this be? Man, we just committed it a second ago. What's the problem now? Well, the problem is you're going to see that this version will not be backed out because the system has decided it is not safe to do so. This is a system record and there is no previous version to back out to. So what the frickin' heck is that about? So the main point here is that even trying to back this out, which was just a business rule, assigning all cases to me is saying it cannot be backed out. So if we go to business rules, you're going to see assign all cases is still here. So this is what we're talking about when you're trying to back something out. A lot of things can pop up. So what would be recommended in this use case here? A lot of these things are really be sure that you want to promote something that has an increase in field size. Let your client or customer or organization know some of the negatives and positives of those types of changes. When you're trying to make updates to things that are outside of a scope, what could happen when you go to do that? So to fix this type of issue, it would maybe better to promote a change to this record, setting it from active to inactive and just having it as inactive, not on the instance. We don't want to kind of get into whole deleting records versus like backing things out, but certain times call for certain measures, and this is where you need to make sure that you understand what's out there. But the main point here is that multiple scenarios that we have tried to walk through in this video have failed to successfully do so due to these anomaly type things, these random things that you may have needed to do first to prepare the delete or the back out. And so it's really best to just not back things out unless you absolutely know what you're doing and know what some of the complexities are. So let's take it back to the studio to wrap things up. You should now have a good understanding of some of the nuances involved when backing out an update set. There's definitely a bit more to it, and to level up the complications even higher, the examples we showed were on a much smaller scale. An update set normally contains more than just one update, and since you're unable to back out a specific update within a set, that means that the entire set must be backed out. This, of course, increases the risk and potential impact on the platform. Again, it's highly recommended to leave the update set committed, if at all possible, and correct the issue elsewhere, then promote and commit the fix. If you absolutely must back out the set, please discuss this with your platform team and be aware of the complexities involved. Lastly, it's important to have a solid execution plan that includes disaster recovery. If you have any questions, or if you'd like to share additional tips about your experience with backing out update sets, feel free to comment below. We sincerely appreciate you taking the time to watch this video, and if you enjoy ServiceNow content like this, please subscribe to the channel, like this video, and share it with others. Once again, my name is Alan Andreas, host of Alanovation, and until next time, take care.